In this video, we'll discuss the top 10 EAM systems in 2025. So let's dive right in. Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent technology advisory firm. We help our clients with technology strategy, system selection, and change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is the top 10 EAM systems in 2025. EAM, when I say this is the enterprise asset management category. Before we look at the list, let's first understand how we define EAM category as well as the criteria that we have used to compile this list. So from the EAM perspective, this is the siloed system. Again, when we look at any of the siloed systems on our list, we are looking at software as a service category. And what that means is you don't require cross-functional alignment to be able to install, deploy. You can install this at the department level. You can purchase at the department level, and you would do that if you don't care for the cross-functional integration of your processes. So what you get with this category is the speed on your enterprise asset management category. But let's say if you require cross-functional integration from the inventory perspective, from the cost perspective, from the operational alignment perspective, then these systems might not be the best fit. In general, when you look at system categories such as your enterprise asset management, sometimes they need to have some of the field-centric workflows as well. That's why companies like to use best-of-breed systems for this category. They might not have as much alignment overall when you look at with the ERP-centric processes. That's why the siloed category is a great fit for the EAM systems. But again, that could vary based on the industry. What do you care for? Do you care for more of the speed of transactions, or do you care more for the cost-centric perspective, as well as the transactional integrity, as well as the traceability of the transactions across your subledgers when you look at EAM versus your ERP? So if you can be best of breed where you are looking for front-end side of the experience, if that is your use case, then this category may be a great fit. Going back to the criteria, which is the product share acquisition strategy focused on the EAM category, product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So these are some of the points that we have considered to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is AssetWorks. And for the most part, AssetWorks is very SMB focused. It's much smaller solution compared to some of the other systems that we are going to review on this list. So when you look at these strengths, this is going to be very SMB friendly. You can implement this with very small consulting budget. And again, this is going to be relevant when you are probably on QuickBooks. You don't necessarily care for the data integrity, etc. The only thing you really need is slightly more operational workflows from the EAM perspective. In those use cases, AssetWorks is probably going to be a great fit. Now, when you look at the enterprise asset management functionality, for example, let's say you have properties that you are trying to manage, but then you are also managing fleets. So some of the systems that we have on this list, they might not be as good for the property or fleets, but in this case, AssetWorks can handle both of those asset types, which is a huge plus. And then some of the polling features are going to be there, especially if you're going to have some sort of integration requirements with the asset types. Now, depending upon how the polling features are implemented, how detailed or granular do you want to be? But again, this integration is going to be there, but it might not be as granular as you are going to find with some of the other systems that we have on this list. Some limitations to keep in mind is it is limited to fewer geographies. So you might need to research whether this is supported in your geography or not. If you are in North America, this could be a great fit, but it might not be supported in other geographies. Not as cross-functionally integrated. Like, for example, let's say if you're talking about adding inventory manually, in those use cases, that might not be the best fit. As well as when you look at the enterprise search based on those inventory items, those use cases might not be the best fit for this, just because it is supporting the text-based inventory to make it easier, to make the implementation easier as well. So again, if you are going to have enterprise search-centric use cases for inventory, then you need to look at other systems that are going to be slightly more cross-functionally integrated. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Aviva. And Aviva is a much bigger system compared to AssetWorks. Aviva is a slightly more legacy vendor, and then they are going to have far tighter integration of EAM with OT-centric workflows, and which is going to be your operational technology, MES, which is your manufacturing execution system, any of the engineering-centric workflows. And again, every single industry is not going to care for these workflows, because EAM or the enterprise asset management category could be relevant in the food and beverage centric spaces, where you are not going to have as strong field service centric workflows or industry 4.0 centric workflows, or it could be relevant for janitorial centric spaces as well, if they are going to have any sort of assets or public sector not for profit. In all of those cases, your enterprise asset management category could be relevant, but again, you are not going to have OT centric workflows in all of those spaces. So if your industry is very operational technology friendly, you are using MES as part of your architecture, in those cases, Aviva is probably going to be a great fit, just because number one, you're going to find all of these capabilities from the same vendor. So that's a huge plus. And then any of the integration ecosystem that they're going to have, that is going to be very well penetrated into those OT-centric workflow, OT-centric spaces as well. So some other strengths to keep in mind is number one, OT-friendly. MES and any sort of engineering workflows are going to be as part of the suite, and they are going to have much bigger global footprint as well compared to some of these smaller systems that we have. For example, if you compare this with AssetWorks. Some limitations to keep in mind is UI is very legacy, might not be fit for every industry, not as easy to learn as well as implement. Again, that is going to be a problem with most enterprise grade offerings. In this case, this is slightly more mid-market centric offering, but even then you would require a lot more help from the training as well as from the consulting perspective. So that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is upkeep maintenance management. And again, this is going to be a smaller cloud native centric solution compared to Aviva. It's going to be much smaller in terms of its structure, the data structure that, or the process structure that it can support. It's designed for slightly more SMB companies. It is not going to have all of those mid-market centric or the enterprise centric capabilities. So some strengths to keep in mind. Again, this is going to be very SMB friendly, meaning you can implement this with very limited implementation, consulting, training budget. It's going to be far more affordable. It's going to be mobile friendly, which is the case with most of the cloud native systems that are going to be modern in general. Some limitations to keep in mind is limited asset and location hierarchies. That's going to be a little negative there. And again, the upkeep maintenance management system is not as well funded. So sometimes you are going to have glitches with their product, and that's a huge negative for any system. But some of the users have reported the glitches with the system. So again, do your research and speak to the references as well, whether they have experienced any of these problems with the system. Scalability issues overall from the complex scenarios perspective. For example, let's say if you look at any of the reoccurring work orders, for those scenarios, it might not be the best fit. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Brightly Siemens Asset Essential. For the most part, Brightly was acquired by Siemens. The reason why they have acquired is because they want to sell a lot more hardware. So that's why these companies offer a lot more offering. And this trend is consistent, whether you talk about any of the banks that may have acquired any sort of treasury management platforms. So in these cases, Siemens is trying to acquire these platforms, and they are going to tightly integrate with their own hardware. The asset management is going to be much easier with their machines, but they might not be as well integrated with any of the machines. So now, if you are going to be a Siemens shop in that use case, this is going to be a great fit. But if you have any other machines or asset that you need to support, sometimes that could be integrated, but obviously Siemens is probably not going to invest as much just because it's not aligned to their interest. So for the most part, Brightly was a very small solution. It was also very SMB friendly, as well as cloud native. So that's going to be a huge plus. Ease of use and cheaper implementation overall for the most part. So that's going to be a huge plus as well. Some limitations to keep in mind. Overall, the reporting is not going to be as robust as you are going to find with some of the other platforms. They are investing a lot in these platforms as well as reporting capabilities. So that's a little negative there. Limited scalability for any of the enterprise use cases as well as asset types. So again, if you don't have budget for any asset management platforms, and if you are primarily Siemens shop, then this could be a great fit. For anything else, you might want to look at slightly more vendor agnostic platform. This obviously would not be vendor agnostic. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is MaintainX. And MaintainX is very cloud native, mid-market friendly. And MaintainX is very well funded. They are doing really well compared to some of these other platforms that we have on this list. So some of these trends to keep in mind is, again, it has far robust capabilities when you compare this with some of the other platforms that we have reviewed on this list. Easy to learn and configure. It's not going to be as easy as, for example, let's say if you compare this with Brightly, but it is easier than some of the other enterprise-centric platforms. For example, let's say if you compare this with Aviva, that is going to be much more legacy platform. It is going to have far deeper enterprise-centric layers, and sometimes because of that, the learning is going to be a challenge. MaintainX is also very mobile-friendly, so that's a huge plus. Some limitations to keep in mind is it is more suitable for facility management than fleet. So if you're also going to have fleet, then you are probably going to have problems with this. For the most part, MaintainX is also penetrated among those manufacturing-centric companies, Industry 4.0, operational technology-centric companies, the way your Brightly is penetrated or Aviva is penetrated. So in those industries, MaintainX is probably going to be a great fit. Scalability issues with complex data sets such as your nested locations. Some of the enterprise grade platforms, for example, when you compare this with IFS or Hexagon platform, in those use cases or with those platform, you are going to have capabilities such as your nested location. With this, that may not be supported. And then the security layers, the workflow security layers are going to be limited as well. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Fix, and Fix is very similar platform as MaintainX. Fix has been acquired by Rockwell Automation, and again, the play is very similar to your Brightly. Fix was slightly superior platform compared to Brightly overall in terms of the capabilities and the maturity perspective. So every single hardware vendor or the control systems vendor that we have in the market, they are trying to acquire one of these systems, again, to sell more of their hardware. So again, if you are going to be in that Rockwell ecosystem, in those use cases, Fix is going to be a great fit, but other use cases, it might not be the best fit. Strengths to keep in mind is it's mid-market friendly and easy to learn as well as configure, mobile friendly, so that's going to be a huge plus. Some limitations to keep in mind is limited auditability as well as controls on work orders. So again, those scalable layers are not going to be present from the enterprise perspective as well as from the asset types perspective. And some users have reported data integrity issues as well because of the loose data model, just because it is designed for simpler use cases, user-friendly use cases. In if that is what you're looking for, then Fix is going to be a great fit, and that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Oracle EAM. And Oracle EAM is going to be slightly more enterprise grade system compared to other systems that we have reviewed that are far smaller. So in terms of size, for example, if you compare this with your Fix or Maintain X, it's going to be much bigger. It's going to be bigger than Aviva as well. Aviva is still very mid-market centric solution. And the other strengths that you're going to have from the Oracle AEM perspective is you are going to have all of those enterprise grade capabilities. When you look at this nesting of different assets, when you have to create those parent-child relationship among different asset types, you are going to have very global presence as well as different asset types, and sometimes their data model is very, very, very different. So if you're going to have all of those use cases, then Oracle EAM is probably going to be a great fit. And then predictive maintenance based on real-time sensor data analytics, that's going to be a huge strength as well. And then supports complex asset types across industries. When you are trying to consolidate many different business models, industries, then your Oracle EAM is going to be a great fit. Some limitations to keep in mind: expensive, steep learning curve just because of the data model, and might require add-ons for integrated capabilities. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is IBM Maximo. And IBM Maximo is going to be an enterprise grade product, just like your Oracle EAM, in terms of different asset types, global consolidation, etc. The hierarchy of those different assets, that is going to be far more complex, comprehensive with IBM Maximo. And again, this is designed for those enterprise-centric use cases. When you look at the attributes support, and with asset types, you are going to require a lot of attributes in terms of their hierarchy, etc. For those use cases, IBM Maximo is going to be a great fit. Complex scheduling rules from the way your check and check out is going to work from the asset perspective, as well as any sort of workflows that you are going to support, those are going to be supported with IBM Maximo. Some limitations to keep in mind is the mobile capabilities that are far superior with slightly more modern platforms. But again, those are going to suffer more from the data integrity centric use cases, for which your IBM Maximo is probably going to be a great fit. The learning curve is probably going to be steep just because of the complexity of their data model, the process model that they have, and they might require an add-on for BIM integration as well, which is going to be your building information management system. And if you are going to be in a spaces where you require BIM as well as part of your processes, then for that you would require an add-on. Some of the other ones may have that integration supported as part of their model out of the box. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Hexagon EAM, and this is also very enterprise grade EAM. For the most part, they did really well in any of these spaces where Infor was present from the LN-M3 perspective, and any sort of industry 4.0 industries are probably going to be a great fit for Hexagon EAM as well. If you compare this with platforms such as your Aviva is going to have a lot more MES capabilities. Hexagon EAM is not going to have as deep MES capabilities as part of their portfolio. In this case as well, Hexagon is also a machine vendor, so they are going to be tightly aligned with their own machines. But for the most part, Hexagon is far bigger product compared to, for example, let's say if you compare this with either Brightly or Fix, Hexagon is a much bigger product compared to your IFS, IBM, Maximo, etc. So some strengths to keep in mind from this product perspective is detailed user privileges, any sort of workflow security capabilities. Those are going to be very enterprise grade. Complex asset types, it can support the majority of the asset types, whether you are going to be in the transportation space, or you are going to have your own in-house fleet, or you are going to have the industry 4.0 centric assets or facilities. All of those asset types can be supported in any of the enterprise modeling that you are going to do with those asset types, however they might be structured. Limitations to keep in mind is their UI is slightly more legacy compared to some of the modern platforms that we have on this list. Mobile capabilities are going to be limited as well, and sometimes documentation could be poor as well. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is IFS EAM. And IFS EAM is also an enterprise grade EAM product. So overall, from the enterprise capabilities perspective, any sort of scheduling requirement, scheduling algorithm, supporting different complex asset types, supporting different global workflows when you are trying to consolidate the assets of different geographies. For those use cases, your IFS EAM is going to be a great fit. In fact, IFS EAM is used on top of some of the enterprise grade ERP systems, SAP, Oracle, etc., just because IFS EAM is going to have much deeper, best of breed, enterprise grade capabilities for the asset management. And some of the spaces, for example, let's say if you look at MRO maintenance, airline, aircraft, the asset management in those spaces is far deeper, far more involved than the other spaces. So again, this is going to be one of the most comprehensive product that we have from the enterprise asset management perspective. So strengths, even though it is enterprise grade, but still it has UI that is very easy to use. Overall, it will require very complex implementation. It is not going to be as easy as something like Fix or Brightly, etc. But if you invest, then you will get the enterprise grade capabilities. But at the same time, it's not going to be as difficult as some of the legacy platforms. Strong predictive maintenance as well as facility management capabilities, and IFS is investing a lot in their AI capabilities as well. So that's a huge plus from the IFS perspective. Some limitations to keep in mind. Overall, the language packs may be limited, would require consulting help, and it might be slightly expensive. So that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we publish these videos on a weekly basis. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. This podcast is also available on the major podcasting platforms if you prefer the audio version. Also, we are going to include a detailed report, which is going to have much deeper insights. So you might want to check that. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.